The basic bodice pattern is the building block for every pattern, and today I'll be showing you just how to achieve this easily in simple steps. Meanwhile, my name is Mercy from the Carries brand. Stay tuned for this drafting because I'll be showing you a few styles you can create easily from this pattern. Now, this is a simple one-size-fits-all blouse that I made from this pattern in less than 2 hours. Please comment below if you want me to recreate this for you all. The length of this basic bodice pattern is 25 inches length plus 2-inch allowance. The first thing you do after creating the length of your material, of your fabric, anyone, is to create your shoulder line. So I marked 1 inch away from the top of this drafting paper and I created my shoulder line. After that, I'll mark my bust line, which is 10 inches as you're seeing on the screen, and then I mark my waistline at 16 inches, and then I added a half an inch allowance and a 2-inch allowance. Why? Because you can use this to create, for the half an inch you can add it to the under bodice, and for the 2-inch allowance you can use this to create a crop top as you are seeing on the screen. Before we go ahead to roll out the lines for this measurement we marked, I just want to tell you that I'll be hosting a 6-day free beginners class in February 2023 just for you. Now stick around for the video for more information. Now don't forget to roll out the lines that we marked out. Now let's do that quickly. Now go ahead and mark out the shoulder slope, which is half an inch. The reason this is called a shoulder slope is because no human shoulder is straight. It slightly slopes. So if you leave this straight out and mark the shoulder of your dress, it will look square and funny. Now the next thing you do is to mark out your chest line. Your chest line is 2 inches above your bust line. Directly 2 inches above your bust line, and it connects directly to your armhole. So the chest line connects directly to your armhole from your shoulder line or from your shoulder slope. So you mark it directly upwards. Next, you get the midpoint of your armhole. You get the midpoint of your armhole, which is 3.75. So you get that point, and then you go ahead from the chest line, that is in between the line that you ruled upwards now, and then in between the chest line and the line you ruled upwards, you mark 1 inch up. You mark 1 inch as you see me doing so, and then you use your French curve. Not necessarily a French curve now, you can also use your free hand to sketch this out. So you see me having issues with the French curve. Actually, I learned to use my free hand and I've learned it to perfection. I was just like, okay, let me just try to use the French curve, So I'm using the French curve, all your free hands. So that's for those of us that don't have the tools yet. You can use your free hand, so don't be afraid. You learn to perfection, and then you use it to mark out this curve. And then glory to be to God, I'm sure I used it and I drafted it out. Next thing we do is to create the neck pattern for this. And for this we will be using the simple round neck pattern of 3 inches width. And for the front neck depth, 5 inches. For the back neck depth, 2 inches. And you mark it out as you see me doing here. And in a future video, I'll be showing us 15 different neck styles, drafting only. So drafting pattern only, and this will only be little compared to the 23 neck patterns. Yes, you heard right, 23 neck patterns I'll be taking in the free beginners class in February 2023. As mentioned earlier, it is free for all, but you have to register and keep your space. So click the link in the description below to fill the form. What you see me doing here is that you mark 1 inch above from the neck width and the neck depth that you created. Mark 1 inch above using your French curve. This French curve was giving me issues again. So using your French curve, you mark 1 inch. Mark from that 1 inch point that you created from your 5 inches neck depth and your 2 inches neck depth. That's how you create your round neck. If you're just starting out as a beginner, it's okay to make mistakes. You heard? It's okay to make mistakes. That's why you should always label your measurements mostly in full. So as you see me doing right now, number 1 is the armhole. I'm going to take that slowly and nice. Number 2 is the neck depth. Number 2, neck depth. Number 3 is the neck width. Neck width. Number 4 is the chest line. So you see me going from top to the bottom. Number 4 is the chest line. Number 5 is the bust line. The bust line. Number 6 is the waistline. The waistline. Number 7 is allowance 1. Number 8 is allowance 2. Now, before we go to number 9, don't forget to add number 10 and 11, which is the hip line below, not shown in this video, and the allowance 3. The allowance 3 is 2 inches below the hip line. So now, after adding allowance 2, as you see me doing in this video, you add your shoulder slope, which is number 9. You got that? So we're almost done now. The next thing is to draft out a simple waist dart. Your dress is not complete without a dart. So from the bust line, you measure 11 inches downwards. You measure 11 inches downward and mark. Now your nipple point is a horizontal measurement, also known as nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 8 inches wide, which becomes 4 inches when divided into 2. So at the bust line, I'll mark 4 inches, and at the waistline, I'll mark 4 inches also, and at the end of my dart, I'll mark 4 inches. So you mark 4 inches at those points and rule a straight line. Now the reason for a waist dart is for fitting, to prevent unnecessary bulge at the waist after joining. You got that? Alright. So now, I didn't show how to draft the back dart, and I'm so sorry about that. It skipped my mind while drafting this. But the back dart starts from the chest line now, not the bust line as for the front. Now you do not add the zipper allowance into your measurement. You use the same nipple to nipple measurement of 8 inches, that's 4 inches now, and you mark from the center, not from the zipper allowance. Is that taken? Now for the front. At that waistline, you take half an inch at both sides. As you see me doing, you take half inch on one side of where you marked and a half inch on the other side that you marked. And using your straight ruler, you connect a straight line from the bust line through the waistline to the end of the dart. And then you mark a slant measurement, you mark a slant line through half inches that you took out. Alright, now it's time to measure the horizontal. Take the horizontal measurement, that's your bust, waist and hip circumference. The bust is 32 inches divided by 4, that is 8 inches. You mark that. Now you come to the waist and mark 6.5 inches, that's 26 inches divided by 4. You take out 1 inch for the dart, which makes it 7.5 inches. Okay, now going to the hip. The hip is 35 inches divided by 4. 35 inches divided by 4, which makes it 8.5. I'm sorry, this is the first time I'm actually shifting it this much. I'm sorry that I've not shifted it up to now. So you mark 8.5 at the hip circumference. So now add your allowance, 2 inches allowance, like I did here, at all of these horizontal measurements. 2 inches at the waist, 2 inches at the hip, 2 inches at the bust. Now don't forget to mark your allowance. Don't forget to label your allowance rather, and label your darts. So you label your allowance, label your dart, and you label the hip line like I earlier said to us. Alright? Please don't forget to share this video, subscribe to my channel, and give this video a thumbs up if you like this tutorial. Make sure to add your half an inch seam allowance at the top of this fabric, that's for joining, and cut. Now you should be confident about cutting what you have just done here. Okay, cut out as you see me doing so. Now you are not cutting out your dart, cut out as you see me doing so. We're going to be using the front pattern to directly cut out the back pattern. Okay, so place the cutout pattern on another pattern paper and measure 2 inches from the center of the drafted pattern. Then I'm pinning mine to avoid hard touching stories. The next thing is to mark my shoulder line, the allowance we added earlier. So then from that shoulder line, I'll mark 2 inches downwards for my neck depth. So I will not show this again because I've illustrated this earlier in the video. Feel free to go back and check it out if you didn't get it. So the next thing I will do now is to highlight my zipper allowance of 2 inches on the back pattern. You can label that if you want to. So I labeled my own as zipper allowance. In the last few seconds of this video, I just want to let you know that I drafted 3 patterns. That is 2 back patterns and 1 front pattern. The first back pattern that we drafted is the one without the zip, like the video that I showed you earlier. That's just it. So please, if you loved this video, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Bye.